Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Everybody still asleep? Stayed up too late? These long days? Conferences are fun, right? They're not for the faint at heart, though. I'm Chris Walker. You're here to hear about driving more direct bookings with data. Hopefully, I give you some great insights today on how to do that and improve your direct booking mix with your company. I'm based out of the culinary field. I went to culinary school, hospitality, and was in that field for a while and decided in '03 that if I could make 1,000 brides happy, I could probably make Mr. and Ms. Jones happy buying their real estate. So I got into real estate. In '07, I opened up my own rental company in Hilton Head. I've been doing so ever since, and that's where a lot of this has come from, because I'm with you as a partner in the business, trying to provide the greatest hospitality we can to the best of our ability. So in 2021, my partner and I developed direct booking tools, which is a price comparison tool that lives on your website, which is where a lot of this data is going to come from today. Okay. So let's talk about the data. Key data came out in 2024. Their December report showed that only 29% of the bookings that are happening on the internet are happening direct. That's pretty sad for us. We need to do better than that. In fact, I think the latest report, the mid-year report, was down to 27%. So we're not gaining ground, we're losing ground. However, when people book direct, they have a higher ADR. They have longer stays, and their average booking window is further out. So all these are very impactful to your bottom line. When you get a higher rate and get them to stay an extra night, and they're booking further out, and you're not having to give people discounts, this all relates to your bottom line. And when you're only doing 29%, it's really affecting your bottom line, and I'll show you exactly how. If you take these numbers and extrapolate them for exactly what they are based on the key data report, using 29% direct, we took a 100-unit company, using these numbers, extrapolating the ADR, the length of stay, average stay is about $1,800. We took these numbers and extrapolated them out. This is what a company would look like at 29% with 100 units. Basically, their company is going to generate, and this is just commission, of course, there's other ancillary revenues, but just using the basis of commissions, company's doing almost $800,000 in revenue. It's a decent business, good business to be in. That's why we're in it. And we're not here to just provide hospitality. We are here to try to make a little money. So not a bad business. However, it's interesting when you take those numbers and you change your direct booking mix. What does that mean to your bottom line? It means you can drive an extra $150,000 into your company with the same number of reservations, just in how you receive those people and how you book those people, because they're staying longer, spending more money. Just your commission revenue goes up $150,000. Pretty impactful. A lot of people don't think of it this way. And knowing this and seeing this will hopefully get you more geared up to driving more direct bookings. How many of you have, let's take a show of hands. Your direct booking mix is 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay. 70 and above. Good job. There you go. You understand what it's all about. Good job. So part of this is not all data. Some of it's just some knowledge of how to do this. And, everybody's like, well, driving direct bookings, how do we do that? How do we make that happen? And one way is the billboard effect. It is very, very powerful. These OTAs are spending billions of dollars every year in marketing, getting the eyeballs, and there's ways that you can make sure that you're getting those eyeballs. As you can see on this screen, this is one of my units. Every one of my TVs has my logo on it. Not my URL, it's not my phone number, it's just my logo. I scrape the back end of that logo off. Every photography session I have, I've trained my photographers to drop that in automatically so that when I get my photos, I don't have to mess with it. I pay them a couple extra bucks to do that, and it's taken care of. And I see so many websites that they don't even take pictures of the TVs in the rooms. And I learned early on, everybody asked the question, was there a TV in the bedroom? Take the picture of the TV. You want that in your marketing, right? And this is all legit. We're not, Had a 10-year veteran from one of the OTAs claim that there's nothing wrong with doing this, and we've had no problems with it at all. Okay, and we've been doing this for about 3 years now. So that's one suggestion. Again, it's subliminal messaging. Also, when you list your properties on these OTAs, make sure you're listing them as a property manager. It's so many times we see VRBOs hosted by John, hosted by Sue. If it doesn't ever say anything about a company, there's no way that those people are going to actually have the notion to go out and find it from you directly, because you're not dropping those little nuggets of information on the listings to get them to come to your site. Another thing too is the listings between your site and the OTAs. This is the most read space. People don't read anymore. They look at pictures, look at pretty pictures. The most read space is the top line into your OTAs. Make sure that your OTAs have your name of your property, whether you use fake names or the actual addresses. I use the actual addresses, but everyone in the heading has the property name. Secondarily, and I didn't put it in this slide, is the very first paragraph. It says 22 Dove Street, North Forest Beach, Hilton Head Island, professionally managed by Luxury Rentals of Hilton Head. So if people do get down to reading, again, you're dropping that in there. And more people are becoming more and more savvy on searching out your properties. We drive 500 to 700 direct links back to our website every year for every property. So that's a lot of traffic that you can drive back to your website. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So use these marketing companies for what they are, marketing, and you will drive more direct traffic back to your own website. This is how you get conversion. This is how you get your website traffic lift up and get people to your website. So conversion rate. How many people actually know what their conversion rate is on their website, or even what conversion rate is? You know? So conversion rate, it's a very simple metric, one that I didn't know until I got into this technology side of the business. Had no idea what my website conversion rate was. It's the how many people hit your website, say, over a 12-month period, and how many reservations did you get? Divide your reservations by your traffic. Industry average. Anybody care to take a guess what the industry average of a website conversion rate is? 0.32%. 0.32%. You spend a lot of money driving people to your website. Your conversion rate is at 0.32%. Yes, sir. They are actually at like a 0.15%, 0.2%. Yeah. That's why they spend billions to get so many eyeballs to their websites. Yeah. Because they're a conglomerate, you know, I mean, a lot of people shopping. They have a lot of waste in their industry for sure. So here's an example of how, if you go from the industry average of 0.32%, now we'll give credit to the larger operators because they've been in the business longer. They have a lot more inventory. They know a lot of the basics of good website development. They're typically at about a 0.7% conversion rate. But the industry average is 0.32%. So going back to our original 100-unit company and using that 29% direct bookings means you're converting about 870 reservations on your website directly. You need 272,000 people to hit your website to make that happen. That's a lot of visitors. That's a lot of eyeballs. That's a lot of marketing. That's a lot of work. Conversely, if you do the things that I'm going to show you here, one I just showed you, if you can get your conversion rate to 1.2%, now you only need 72,000 people to convert those same 870 reservations. Now, if you're doing the right things that I'm showing you today, your conversion rate's going to go up, your direct booking mix is going to go up, but I wanted to use a balance of 29% worth of direct bookings so that you can see the massive impact of doing some of these things in your operations and how you don't have to work so hard, work smarter, not harder. So how do you impact the conversion rate? Use best practice on landing pages and websites. Some of your websites are so difficult to manipulate, to get through, to actually get to a booking page and find the search bar. There's all these things that can be challenging with the way you set up your website. I will say that if you're using a Blue Tint or a BizCool website, you're in pretty good shape, but there's some pretty horrible sites out there. Show affiliations and associations, especially for smaller companies. Bigger companies do this already, but smaller companies need to give people the convincing proposition that they're dealing with a professional. You always want to protrude that you're a professional in the industry, because you are. Prominently talking about your company history and the people within it. People like dealing with people. And so talk about your people, talk about your successes. Share reviews. I use an aggregate review myself from a company called Reviews. Put that prominently on your website on every page so that people can see, again, how stellar you are as a company. And then, of course, use a price comparison tool on your website. And that's the technology that we've developed. I'm not here to pitch a product, but it does work. So I am going to pitch a product for a second. So this is the first and only industry-only price comparison tool. It lives on your website, and it shows up for every property page when there's date ranges put in and there's a rate given by you on your website. We go out and show the VRBO, Airbnb, and Booking.com rates. These are real-time rates out the door. And when you can show people that you're saving them $500, $800, $1,200, $3,000 by booking direct, you're going to keep them on your website. Stickiness of cart. They're going to stay there. They're going to find the right property. If you have what they're looking for, they're going to stay there and they're going to convert. That's where I went from 0.32% to 1.2% in conversion rate, because this product is, it's just disclosure. It's not rocket science, but no one's been able to do it in the industry, and people that are using it are having great success with it. Another thing that we noticed in the industry is cart abandonment is massive, 82%. People get to your cart and they abandon it. They take off. So we created another product that slides in, shows how much money they're saving by booking direct. We're reinforcing that message. We show them how much they're saving, at least between the comparisons. We also reinforce your brand, and we give them the opportunity to book travel insurance while they're in this slider. On average, if you look at the numbers of what travel insurance would cost and what their savings is about 50% of it. So even if the traveler pays $350 for travel insurance, there's still perceived savings of $350 still on the table. So travel insurance for me has gone up 25% in my sales. That's bottom line revenue, right? Everybody's getting commission off of travel insurance? I hope so. You should be. So again, bottom line numbers that impact your real profitability. We also did a thing with some email marketing companies where it's called a cart abandonment email, where we're actually capturing the IP address of those people. And within an hour of them abandoning the cart, they'll get an email that shows them exactly which property they were looking at, what those price comparisons were, giving them the opportunity, inviting them to come back and book again. And we even put a search bar in there too. If they're not happy with that property, they can go back and search for another property. So again, it's just a touch point back to those people that you've lost from your website. Beyond this, if that person still has not touched the checkout page, the thank you page on the website, if that IP address has not hit that 3 days later, depending on your email marketer and how they set it up, but 3 days later, they'll take that IP address, they'll show 3 other properties those people looked at and said, hey, you were on the site, you didn't care for this particular property, maybe this one's one of these 3 will entice you to come back and book your stay with us. We've just developed this product, but we're having some pretty significant impact on capturing those lost leads that were on the site. Up your email marketing game. A lot of your emails that you do are promotionals, and a lot of them look nice. A lot of them are a little lengthy. Keep them short, keep them simple. People are inundated with emails today, but it's also your cheapest marketing angle that you've got, right? If you're not remarketing your clients, 71% on average, 71% of the people that stay with you don't know who you are. You've captured their information. Get back with them on a regular basis in an email campaign. And typically the open rates are about 42%, but the conversion rate is only about 0.5% in email marketing campaigns. However, We had the bright idea, as you can see, including the price comparison tool. They just scraped this from their website, took a screenshot of it, included it in a very simple email, and now the reservations are up. You get 92 reservations, 2.2% conversion rate on emails. I'm not saying that's happening on one email. That's over a spring campaign for the summer stays kind of thing. Okay? Work smarter, not harder. Give people that convincing proposition. I had a lady that booked with me for 10 years through VRBO. Miss Jones, why do you keep going to VRBO? I just love VRBO. Okay. I put this on my website. She hadn't been back to VRBO. She is not. She didn't realize how much she was overpaying. Interesting enough, we found this CoStar data analysis that was done about travel. Of course, location's number one, price is number two. So when you can convince people that you're saving them money, especially in this, this economy where everybody's been beat up by all the cost of everything going up, everybody's trying to save $1. And when you can show them you're saving them $500, $800,000 on their travel, you've captured that audience. Okay. All right, so behind the scenes data, I wanted to show, and I'm going to escape from this, and I'm actually going to go to our data dashboards. I pulled these up, about 4 reports here, just to go over. Not knowing the Wi-Fi situation here, I pulled up 4 separate tabs, but every time our tool fires, this gives you forward-looking demand analytics of what people are looking for on your website at any given time. Okay. So when our product fires, you see what dates they're looking for, what properties they were looking to stay at, how long they were looking to stay. And so we've got several things here that we report back to you. So we take that data, break it down to the property level, and show you how you're trending on a daily basis. We break it down by the property type, the number of bedrooms, what neighborhood. We break it down by neighborhood. We break it down by condo complex. We break it down by city center if you're in multiple city centers. So now your revenue managers and your marketing managers can take this data and analyze where the eyeballs are looking and what they're looking for at any given time on your site. So they can apply the marketing to 2-bedroom condos if that's what people are looking for, or if a particular neighborhood's not getting the traffic that they should be getting. That maybe that's why you're lagging in bookings. You can do some marketing around that data to really target market your clients, and get them to get those sales moving. We also show you in a data dashboard here what your most popular times that people are looking to travel, what dates. It's interesting enough, this is a South Carolina beach vacation destination, and August 2nd and July 26th are their hottest weeks in the last 6 months, which to me seemed a little surprising because it's a little bit late in the season for us. It's not, it wasn't July 4th, right? A lot of people think that. So they can use this data. They can actually click on those bars, see exactly what properties people were looking for, and really drill down into the data. Also, we have a rate parity report. We know we distribute our properties through Streamline to the OTAs. Sometimes we have fat finger discounts. We don't realize it. That's what I call them when people are messing around with the data. They do something, and you'll distribute something to Airbnb by accident. You didn't put 20%, you put 2%, whatever your markup is on Airbnb. We'll show you this information on the back end. We'll never display a lower price on the forward-facing tool. If you're doing an Airbnb, they get their 20% discount thing that they do. If it is lower than your own rate, it will not show to the public. We'll never lead them away from your website. But at least on the back end, initially going into our product, a lot of people realize that their distribution is incorrect. They're not where they think they are. And they use this data to be able to determine that. Excuse me. Also, we show you on an aggregated basis what days of the week are the most hottest. Interesting enough, and this is not just for this company, Mondays and Tuesdays when people are at work are the hottest days people are looking to travel. They're not working. They're dreaming about going on vacation. They are, right here. Monday between, what's the times? 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. is the hottest time they got people shopping for their travel. And you would think it'd be Saturday and Sunday or Tuesday night or whatever. No, people are looking while they're at work. And that what knowing that data, and it's different for everybody. And of course, you shrink your time frame down into 1 month and see when people are most active. It's gonna ebb and flow a little bit throughout the year. But this is when you release your email marketing. This is when you release your social media ads, that kind of thing. You know, you want to know when people are engaged on your website, when people are actually looking to travel or book their travel, I should say. So there's a lot of data here that helps you out with the forward-looking demand on your website. Single property, you can break this down to a single property level situation. And why would you do that? Well, this is a single property over the last 6 months has got 1,900 price quotes. Now you can actually download that into a PDF, send it to Mr. and Ms. Jones and say, Mr. and Ms. Jones, we love you being on our program, but the paint, carpet, and the purple drapes aren't cutting it anymore. And you can have some real conversations with your owners that you are a marketing company. That's what they hired you for, to market their property, to manage their asset. And you've been trying to tell them that they need to make some changes. And you can prove to them that you're getting the eyeballs, but people aren't buying what we're selling because of whatever reason it might be. I had a 2-bedroom condo that I took on in March going into the summer season. The lady had just bought it and she hadn't even closed on it yet. And we started marketing it. And it had 2 queen beds and no pull-out couch, oceanfront, fully remodeled. We saw that we have over 500 price quotes on it and 1 reservation. I'm like, what's wrong with this property? People didn't want 2 queen beds. They wanted a king in the master. Queen was all we could do in the other, and then we put a pull-out couch. We changed the description, hadn't even done the work yet, and sold it out in 3 weeks because it was a configuration of the unit, right? You got to give people what they want. So it's not always price. A lot of times it can be price. A lot of these people are still stuck in 2023 thinking they can get $10,000 for a house they're only going to get $7,000 for in this market. This is your ability to talk to them about that. Another aspect of this too is if you have properties, you know, you're out there actively trying to gain more properties, and you happen to say, you know, there's a complex on Hill Neck called Villamar. I've got 3 units in there. I can pull 12 months of data. Say, look, I've pulled 100,000 visitors to this site. I've only got 3 units. Mr. Villamar, thanks for giving us consideration. I actually need more inventory. I can prove it to you here. We've got the eyeballs looking to stay in Villamar. I need more inventory. So it can help you in owner acquisition as well. Okay? You absolutely can. Yes, sir. So right here, there's a lot, you can take this data and slice it 1,000 different ways, but here's every property, and I just chose the most popular one in this 6-month period to show. And you can pick those properties, just all those, or you can actually go into the complex, pick the complex, and it'll pick all those properties, and you can see how that complex is doing for you. Okay. You know, here's this particular company didn't set up complexes because they don't have a lot of condo complexes in their inventory. But if I uncheck, if the internet's now, see, the internet's not working. That's why I have these tabs set up. But if I'd have selected all the inventory, I could show you the city centers where the eyeballs are going and all that stuff. So it does break it down, and you can go drill deep into that data. So I'm very happy I set this up the way I did based on the way that looks. All right, so here's another interesting thing that you can do with this data is you can start to look into the future at a particular month. So I took this data. This is a beach vacation. Of course, they're coming off the summer season, but their next real big season, if you will be spring break next year. We already know Thanksgiving is going to do what it's going to do. Christmas and New Year's, you pretty much know what you're going to do around those. But your next big season is spring break. And you see here that the eyeballs are coming in, and they're looking for March 30th. That's when you know when your spring break's going to start up. I had my whole inventory wrong last spring. I was a week late in my setup of bumping my rates because I assumed that it was a week later. I looked at my data and caught it 6 months out and was able to revert and go back 1 week and raise my rate. So I salvaged my inventory at a much higher rate. You don't know when school districts are getting out. You don't know. I mean, year-round schools and all this stuff will have impacts on different, you know, ebbs and flows in the demand on certain weeks. And now you know exactly when people are looking to travel, how long they're looking to stay. So another metric is how long are they looking to stay? So March 30th is an 8-night average, but the next week is only 6. As a revenue manager, you may have 7-night minimum in your inventory when really that's not what the consumer is looking for. Drop it one night, raise your conversion rate, and get a better return on it. All right. And you can do this for next year, next month. Again, as you get, what I do all the time is I always go 60 days out from where I'm at and see where the numbers are coming in and try to adjust minimum night stays, pricing, whatever I need to do to get the conversion out of the people that are hitting my site. Here's another interesting one that we just developed. We did a study of 12,000 properties. When we got 12,000 properties on the platform, we figured that if you get 10 price quotes for the same property, same arrival date, departure date, same length of stay, you may have a pricing problem. If you get over 20, it's most likely you have a pricing problem. Typically pricing, but I gave you an example of a bedroom configuration situation, but typically it's price. So we built this dashboard around that. Here's a company for this particular, I just highlighted one. They've had 85 price quotes. This is into July of next year when people are looking to arrive. They sold it this year for $28,000 in February. So they got full rack rate, basically. I mean, that's not a last minute discounted rate. That is a full rack rate for that property of $28,000. Why would they come back out at a 50% increase in rate for this year, for next year? Why would you do that? It's almost absurd, but this is what they've done. And it could be their pricing algorithm that they've hired, to do that stuff, and they don't realize it. And we felt like a lot of people didn't realize it. So we built this dashboard to show you this. When they first started with this dashboard with these people, they had 400 and 500 price quotes for the same property because it was overpriced. And so you can look at year over year, same point in time. That's what split means. So at 27,000, they sold it in February. They started at 42. The last price quote's at 36. At what point are you going to get back down? Had you probably, and you're going to see, there's lots of them that come in. This company's doing a lot of 2026 stuff at this point because the season's over. But you could see as you get closer, of course, the rate starts to drop even further and further and further. If you go ahead and price that, if you wanted to bump the price 10, 20%, maybe $29.95, make it reasonable, you could probably convert that at a $2,000 or $3,000 higher rate for next year. But you're not going to do it at $15,000 more than what you're selling. Or the consumers are not stupid. They understand. They are searching. People go to, they say 15 to 18 websites before they make a buying decision on their vacation. They are researching the heck out of things. So don't get yourself in a situation like this. But again, y'all have your own business metrics. People have rhyme and reason to what they do. We suggest you don't do this. And not only that, but if you look at the numbers of all these that are up here, how many, what is that? We got 1,000 people in that list right there that have gotten what I think are overpriced properties. And what did you do? You spent all this money to drive those people to your website. You gave them a high overpriced rate. So you may have disenfranchised those people and they may think that you're just an expensive company and they may not return back to you. So that's another detriment of doing something like this on your website. Any questions on that? You guys like that? That's a good one. Let me get back to, how much time do we have? What time is it, folks? What are we till 10:30? I don't even know, to tell you the truth. We've been in 30 minutes. All right, let me go back. So a couple more things I want to show you about the impacts of direct bookings. There's different ancillary benefits of direct bookings. And one of the most impressive for my own company was when we were at 23%, and interest rates were down. So I understand that, and interest rates are up higher now. But take 5 years ago, when we were at 23%, I think our interest account on our escrow, was $3,000-4,000 a year. Well, now that I've gone to 70%, and my booking windows are much further out than the industry average, I'm sitting on all that money all this time. I think we did $48,000 in interest in the last 12 months. Yes, sir. 23% direct. I was only at 23% direct. I've been in business for 16 years and I only did 23% of my business direct. And since I've instituted everything I'm showing you today, I'm at 70% direct. Yes, sir. And so one of the major impacts that people don't realize is that's just free money. I just gained an extra $45,000 to my bottom line just off of holding other people's money. instead of Airbnb and VRBO holding on to their money. It's impacting. It's impacting. Here's some other benefits. Increasing the marketing efficiency. If you're driving higher conversion rates, you're getting more bookings. It just stands to reason that you're going to be able to reduce your cost in marketing. Although you may keep your marketing dollars up and get more revenue out of the unit over the course of the year or whatever, but you got to play, whatever your scenario is in your market. But there can be significant cost savings in marketing. Another big thing, people are booking further out with your company. Now you're not having to discount those rates. And again, I'm sorry, using a price comparison tool, showing Ms. Jones that she's saving $800 by booking direct and your reservations are online with her and she's asking you for a 20% discount. Ms. Jones, I'd love to help you out, but we're already saving you $800 by booking direct. How much more do you want me to do? Maybe you give her 5% instead of the 20% that you were giving her before. You're reducing your discounting to your clients and you're capturing them further out as well. That's impactful. Here's another one that we didn't really think about until later on. If you are not controlling your clients, if you're not the procuring cause for the revenue for your properties, it's very easy for Mr. and Ms. Jones to consider that 10%, half rate, cut rate commission that some guy sent them a postcard on because you're not driving their revenue. If you're at 65% driving revenue, that's a hard decision for them to make over a little bit of commission dollars. Now they've got to look at it and say, well, you guys really are doing your job. You really are the procuring cause of all the business that we're getting. I don't know that I want to take the risk on the guy who's trying to cutthroat on the rate. So now you can have a better conversation with those owners when they come to you because you have raised your conversion rate or your booking mix above 60%. So owner retention. So what does all this really mean? We've kind of put it in a spreadsheet here showing you what each individual aspect between the travel insurance, the escrow interest, reduction in discounting, increase in your booking mix. And if you can raise your booking mix in this case for a 100-unit company, go from 29% to 60%, it's $195,000 to your bottom line, or increase in revenue to your company, I should say. And a lot of it is bottom line revenue because travel insurance, interest income, those types of things and just saving on cost. It's impactful. It's really impactful. So I hope, that you guys can see where this is going to help your company and understand why spending the time, energy, and effort. It doesn't have to be expensive to drive direct bookings. You just have to do things right. And think about some of the smaller little tidbits that are going to drive people to your website. Okay. We are also API connected with Streamline. This happens to be a company that has been with us. This is for last year. We increased their direct bookings by 51%. 51%. And as you can see, as a comparison to the OTAs, they're spending more per night, per stay, staying longer, and overall higher revenues. And we're helping them increase their repeat business. Of course, that's the best business you can have than getting cheaper than repeat business. If any of you would like this presentation, you can just take a screenshot of that, fill out the form, and we'll email it to you. Okay? Any questions? Any thoughts? Yes, sir. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Our little tool, it's just a script that lives on the footer of the website. The only thing we can't work with right now is hospitable websites. So we'll work on any website platform. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, sir. Correct. Well, there's two schools of thought there. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. You ever heard the story about the shoe salesman, the world's strongest shoe salesman? He never gave a woman more than 2 pairs of shoes because it was too many choices. He'd bring 2 pairs of shoes out. Well, I want to try those on. Well, which one of these don't you want? Well, what do you mean? No, I want to try. No, which one of these do you not want? So if you put too much in front of people, people get confused, is what it boils down to. Okay. That's true. we can consider that. I mean, these three are the biggest runners in the game as far as traffic. Certainly VRBO, Airbnb, number one. Booking.com is trying to get in the market. I looked at a study, I think Booking.com was at like 8% of the market recently, something like that. And, Airbnb was 70% and VRBO was 30%, whatever the numbers are. I mean, Airbnb has kicked Vrbo pretty hard recently in market, capacity. But yes, if it ever came to it, we could do future development on it. We are constantly, we love our clients because our clients have a lot more, use that they have, and we've modified this thing a lot to come up with some really neat stuff to be able to help people increase their conversions. Yeah, so it's possible for sure. Anybody else? Did we learn anything today? Was it worth being here? I hope so. Thank you for coming.